later. So proposition might say that this is acceptable because the rich provide jobs for the poor, but that doesn't solve the problem. Even if you do have a job, that doesn't mean that you will immediately get a lot of money. Okay? A poor worker may spend decades contributing into a community only to die while the owner continues to accumulate years, wealth and opportunities. The rich gain even more advantage simply because they can buy more time, which is time that the poor can never buy back. And let me explain why. Because if someone is desperate enough to sell their life in the first place, it means that they urgently need the money. So when they want to buy those years back later, will they realistically have the resources to do so? No, because for most of the people, the money will already be gone spent on rent, food or debt, and only the already wealthy can afford to reverse this trade. So this applies if you want to willingly sell your life too, because maybe later on in your life you realize, oh, I want my life years back, but you might not have the resources to do so.
And both have the help. We don't think that life can be valued to the point where after you sell life, you're unable to tangibly and immediately improve your life. And once again, my first speaker already told you in her framing that there will be government oversight to ensure that the poor isn't going to be exploited for their lives, and there will also be a cap to ensure that you will be able to experience holistic experiences in your life, like for example, those milestones before you decide to sell your life. Now, secondly, on the point on inequality, we think that it's true that people on both sides already face economic inequality, and we think that allowing them to sell their lives just gives them another way and a more tangible and immediate way to improve their circumstances. We think that selling theirs is something that is voluntary and gives the poor a more improved, a more improved way to agency over their lives, right? And given the fact that this choice is voluntary, the poor would still make this choice because they think that they perceive the immediate benefits to their lives far outweighs the harm that it might bring to them later on, like for example, them living a shorter life, right? And we think that denying them these options is causing them to be further trapped.
First, they assume that selling just 1 or 2 years of their life is enough to guarantee survival forever, which is ridiculous because of the massive supply and insufficient demand my first speaker has already explained. Next, they also assume that the poor will never be able to earn this money in the next 30 years or improve their situation, as if the only option left is to sell a quarter of their remaining lifespan for a small sum of money. And the last assumption they made is that they assume that there's no progress, no industrialization, and no new opportunities can ever happen in society, and the only push factor will be that to success is this newly introduced lifestyle trait. But that's wrong because they fail to realize the consequence of this. They fail to consider exploitation, black markets, economic downfalls, and an aging population and the slowing down of progress in the society. Before that, rebuttals. Part 1 had 1 point, and that is on how individuals can get a better access to life and hence they will have an improved quality of life as a result. 2 rebuttals. But that's on the assumption that you use a small amount of lifespan to gain a lot of benefits, which I've already proved is wrong. And number 2, they assume that you can use this money responsibly. That inherently
information.
No. Less likely because the individuals get the money too easily. The Prop 2's first substantive was on how individual freedom and autonomy can allow an improved quality of life as well. Yes, but with this policy, the poorer people will likely be the ones selling most of the time because they are the poor. They need money. The choice here